I knew that when I started a channel that I wanted to film that video that I needed and that I was looking for. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a video from start to end on how to milk a goat. I know when I first started looking into getting dairy goats, and then we got them, but I was really struggling with, okay, so I like a step-by-step tutorial. So this is what you need to start with. Here's your next step, and then to continue onward, so that way I knew exactly what I needed to do to make sure I was doing it the right way, and I couldn't find it. So I knew that when I started a channel that I wanted to film that video that I needed and that I was looking for when I first started dairy goats that I couldn't find. So that is what we're going to do today. We are in my new milk shed that we actually just got started, that you guys just saw, and it is a work in progress. So this isn't something where when you start that you need everything right away. Start small. You will find things here and there that you want to change, that you want to do differently, and you can do that, and that's okay. It is very adaptable. So to start with, the first thing you're going to need is a doe goat. This is going to be a very basic guide. Some of you that are already familiar with goats and you're coming here, you're going to know most of this. But this is from the very beginning. This is like a very beginner's guide so that anybody can do this. So to start, you're going to need a female goat, which is called a doe. A lot of people call them a nanny. Proper terminology is a doe. So you're going to need a doe that is at least about a year old, and that's going to depend on what breed you're going to do. I raise, you can probably hear them in the background, I raise primarily Nigerian dwarves, but we also have a few mini Nubians in there as well. So you're going to need yourself at least 2 does. They are a herd animal. They cannot be separated. You can't just have one goat. So you're going to need 2 does that are about a year old, so that way you can have them bred. To have them bred, you have different options. You can find someone local that has a buck, that is a buck male goat, that is willing to let you bring your doe there to be serviced or bred. You could get AI and take it to your vet, or have your vet come to you, and you could have your doe bred that way. Or you can actually keep your own buck, which is what we've chosen to do, since we have one of the babies is right here. So that's what you're hearing in the background. So once you breed your doe, once you put your doe in with your buck, depending on what breed you have, some have seasonal cycles, which I'm not super familiar with. It's not something we have to deal with. But I know Nubians are a seasonal cycling goat. But Nigerians, they cycle every single month, which works really well when you're doing what's called hand breeding, which means that you are just going to say, okay, you know what, this doe that I have, she's in heat now, I'm going to go ahead and put her in with the buck and get her bred now. Nigerians, it's about 145 gestation days before they have the baby. They tend to have the baby when it is least convenient for you. And it is not usually on 145 days. Sometimes it's a little before, sometimes it's later. So, okay, now you have your buck and your doe is bred. Okay, now you have babies on the ground. And this is where it was difficult for me, because I couldn't find the exact information I wanted. And I know now that the reason that I couldn't find the information I wanted is because everybody does it differently. So I'm going to tell you what we have chosen to do, but you can always talk to other local dairy goat farmers or breeders and ask them what they do. For us, what we chose to do was wait until the baby is 2 weeks old. When the baby gets to be 2 weeks old, in the evening we come up and we take the baby away and we stick him in a pet carrier, which you'll see here. That is a temporary arrangement. We actually want to have a kid pen, so that way we can take the baby goats and they have a full pen with their own shelter in there. But this property is new to us and we don't have a pen set up for that yet. So we bring the baby goats in and we put them inside the pet carrier. And you want at least 12 hours. Some people will do 12 hours on the dot. I'm sure some people go a little bit before, but I'd be lying if I said that my days don't get busy. And sometimes it's more than 12 hours before I'm able to get up here and get the does milked. So once the baby goat is put inside the carrier, the next morning you're going to bring the mama goat and you're going to bring her into your area where you're going to milk. It is super helpful if you are able to bring your doe in before she is even kidded. The earlier you can start, the better, just to bring her in and mess with her udder just a little bit. You don't want to stress her too much, but to mess with her udder just a little bit, and then let her go, and then do that, multiple times a week. But like I said, the soonest you're able to start, the better. The doe that I'm currently milking right now, I did not mess with her udder at all. She is 2 years old. This is her first freshening. So that means this is her first kidding. She's a first freshener. This will be her first time I didn't mess with her at all. So I wasn't sure what to expect when I got her in and onto the stanchion. But she's used to the stanchion because that's how I trim hooves. I find that it's easiest to trim a hoof when they're able to eat and their mind is elsewhere. Okay, so this is our goat Noelle. She is a mini Nubian. I did not separate her baby from her. Get down here lower so you can see me. I did not separate her baby from her last night. We had some stuff going on and the baby didn't get separated. So she's not as full as she would be. This isn't gonna show you how much I can get from her, but just the process of how to milk her. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a bucket, this is empty, of warm soapy water, and I'm going to take my washcloth or a small towel of some sort, and I'm going to dip that in. I'm going to get it wet, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to start at the top of her udder and wash and move as I'm going down. And then once I get down here to her teats, I'm going to wash them, but then I'm also going to express, and I'll show you more at a different angle on how to milk her, but I'm going to express that first bit of milk. That helps to clear up anything that is in the teats. Okay, next, since her udder is wet, it's not now, but it would be, I'll take a dry cloth and do the same thing. Just gonna go ahead and dry off her udder here, just like that. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and get into the actual act of milking. We already expressed that first bit of milk and got rid of that. We cleared out the teats by doing that. I've got a dog in visiting me here, sorry. I'm gonna show you from this angle and I'm gonna bring you around to the other side and show you another angle on what I'm doing here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab onto with my forefinger and my thumb, and I'm going to go up onto the udder a little bit. I'm going to move stuff away from my dog real quick. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze, and basically what I'm doing here, I'm not squeezing hard, but I am squeezing firm. I am going to trap that milk into the teat here. And then I'm going to take, since she does have smaller teats, I usually just use my next finger, and sometimes this one, my pinky, doesn't get used for this. So I'm going to pull some of that milk down, I'm going to pinch it off, and then I'm going to, like I said, she's a first freshener. However, she actually does really well. My guess is that she ran out of grain, which she did. So if your doe starts to get antsy, check, she may have just run out of grain. So I'm gonna put some more grain in there for her, and then I will continue to show you how to do this. Okay, so she's topped back off with grain. So let's get her back here into the frame. Okay, there we go. I'm going to pinch that off, and then using my middle finger here, I'm going to push that milk down. So again, and she doesn't have much milk, so I'm just kind of showing you technique here. I'm gonna pinch that off, and then I'm gonna use these ones and just kind of like roll down. So push with that one and then that one. All you're doing is just pushing that milk down out of there. So again, we're just gonna pinch it off, and then push with our next fingers until the milk has all come out of the teeth. So now let's say that, okay, I've milked her all out, and let's say this jar is mostly full. Now to get more milk to come down, what I'm going to do is kind of massage or gently shake her udder here and encourage some more milk to come down. So again, squeeze and roll the fingers down. So once you have the milk inside of your jar, you are going to take a funnel. I prefer stainless steel. You're going to take a funnel and place it inside your jar. You guys can't see this because you're a little bit too high. These here are the milk filters that I use. They are a non-gauze milk filter, and these are a 6.5 inch. The way I do this is because this is too big to go inside of here as it is. So I fold it in half, and then I only smooth down a little bit of it. And then I am going to take this part here and fold it back on itself. So here you can see, all it does is just really makes this a little bit smaller. So that way I'm able to fit it inside my filter. So now that fits inside my filter, or my funnel, sorry. My filter fits inside my funnel better now. So here's how we have this set up now. I'm going to take the milk. I find that it works best if you are filtering a warmer milk rather than letting it sit in the fridge for a day and then filtering it, but then you're gonna have all the bacteria in it. So you definitely want to filter it as soon as possible after milking. We're gonna go ahead and filter it, and then you'll of course throw away your filter there, and then put the lid back on, and then you're just gonna pop it in the fridge. It can last 10 to 14 days. It's gonna depend on your dough. A few other tips here. Before you buy your dough, I would definitely recommend meeting the dough. If you're able to get a dough who is lactating, and you are able to taste the milk and see if you like that, that is of course the best option, because not all goats are created equal. They all have different tasting milk. If you cannot taste that doe's milk, maybe try and taste someone in her family line, so like her dam, her mom. Another thing is I also recommend having your goat tested. There are several different tests that you can have done, but you want to look at the zoonotic diseases, which are diseases that can be passed from your goat to yourself. Some of those include Q fever, TB, brucellosis. Those ones can be passed to you, but we also here we test for CL, CAE, and Johne's. Those ones you can actually draw the blood yourself and send in and have tested, but you want to make sure that you're buying from a clean herd, so ask to see their test results so you can make sure that the herd you're buying from is clean, and then you always want to quarantine your animals and then test them before you actually start anything. I hope that you guys were able to learn something from this video, and as always, don't be afraid to drop some questions down in the comments below if I didn't cover something you would like to know more of.